They told you that intelligence means grades. They lied. They said being smart is about solving math problems and reading books. They lied again. What if I told you that the smartest people you'll ever meet don't speak much, never react emotionally, and always seem one move ahead of everyone? In this video, we'll uncover the mental algorithm they never taught you in school. The kind used by the quiet elites to dominate without ever being seen as a threat. And once you understand it, you'll never think like the average man again. What they taught you in school was not intelligence. It was obedience. It was the ability to regurgitate information without questioning its purpose. You were trained to raise your hand, wait for permission, and absorb only what was permitted. But the truly intelligent man, the one who rises above mediocrity, does not follow a programmed curriculum. He engineers his own code of survival. At the heart of high-level intelligence lies a hidden algorithm. It is not mathematical, but psychological. It does not concern itself with equations or formulas. It concerns itself with outcomes. The intelligent man views the world as a chessboard where every interaction, every decision, and every word carries weight. He is not driven by emotion, nor trapped by morality. His mind is guided by a compass of foresight, adaptability, and ruthless clarity. The average man seeks comfort. He follows rules because they were handed to him. He does not question the intentions behind them. The intelligent man, on the other hand, dissects reality with surgical precision. He doesn't simply react, he anticipates. He observes not just what people say, but why they say it. He is trained in pattern recognition and understands that human behavior, no matter how chaotic, follows predictable scripts once the mask is removed. This algorithm begins with the ability to remove oneself from the emotional fog that clouds most minds. Schools condition students to please, to be liked, to seek reward from outside. But the algorithm of survival intelligence is internal. It rewards strategic silence over empty expression. It calculates consequences, not feelings. The intelligent mind understands that power often hides behind restraint. He learns that people are not driven by truth. They are driven by perception. This is why so many smart men go unnoticed, while manipulators rise. Because the system never taught you to think in layers. It taught you to think in lines. But true intelligence is multi-dimensional. The algorithm functions like a fortress. It protects the inner kingdom while creating illusions for outsiders. He does not waste time fighting battles that bring no advantage. He understands leverage. He knows when to speak and when to let others reveal themselves. His intelligence lies not just in knowing, but in choosing what to ignore. He can walk into a room and sense tension, competition, and insecurity, not by sight, but by instinct, by decades of internal refinement. Survival intelligence teaches him that people are weapons. They can be used, disarmed, or avoided, but never trusted blindly. Where others see relationships as emotional bonds, he sees them as psychological transactions. Not in a cold, robotic way, but with a level of clarity that ensures he is never caught off guard. He never assumes loyalty. He tests it. He never assumes admiration. He questions the motives behind it. Schools taught you that intelligence is a static trait, something you either have or don't. Survival intelligence is dynamic. It grows in isolation. It sharpens through betrayal. It is not certified with diplomas, but with scars. Every betrayal, every loss, every humiliation is not an end, but an input. The intelligent man feeds his algorithm with pain and transforms it into insight. He understands the laws of dominance and submission, of strength and deception. He knows that fear controls most people. So he does not fear. He studies fear. He learns how it drives decisions, how it clouds judgment, and how it creates opportunity. The mentally elite do not panic in chaos. They see patterns. When others freeze, they move. When others overthink, they act. The intelligent mind detaches from the need to be understood. He understands something most never will, that being understood is often a weakness. Once others understand you, they can manipulate you. Once you become unreadable, your presence becomes a mystery, and mystery is power. This algorithm is not loud. It is not praised. It is invisible, hidden behind quiet eyes and a steady voice. But it is always working, always watching, always adjusting. It is not born from theory, but from experience, brutal, raw experience. This is why most will never learn it, because it requires discomfort. It requires that you unlearn every soft idea you were taught about what it means to be smart. Real intelligence is not about knowing everything. It's about knowing how to survive anything. It's about shaping outcomes while others chase approval. It's about building your mind into a weapon no one sees coming. This mental algorithm does not apologize, does not explain, and does not beg for understanding. It exists to win. And if you learn to install it into your thinking, you will no longer see the world the same way again. The man who cannot command his emotions is a man already conquered. Emotional chaos is the first sign of mental weakness, and yet this is exactly what is left untrained in traditional education. They taught you how to memorize a textbook, but never how to govern your own emotional empire. They prepared you for exams, not betrayals. For group projects, not internal wars. But the man who rises above the noise of the world is the one who declares himself ruler over his own psychological domain. Emotions are not your enemy. They are the messengers of your subconscious, ancient signals designed to help you survive. But when you let these signals control you, you are no longer alive with awareness. You are merely reacting. This is how average men live: impulsive, defensive, easily provoked. They explode when disrespected, shrink when ignored, and overextend when validated. They are puppets with invisible strings, pulled by whoever knows how to push the right button. The man of high-level intelligence operates differently. He does not suppress his emotions, he observes them. He is not cold, but calculated. His anger is not expressed in shouting matches. It is stored as fuel, redirected with precision. His fear is not shown through hesitation, but transformed into anticipation. His sadness is not broadcast to win sympathy, but processed in silence, converted into clarity. This level of emotional sovereignty is not natural. It is trained, often through pain, betrayal, and long periods of solitude. The battlefield of life begins in the mind. If you cannot rule there, you will never rule anywhere else. Every thought must be interrogated before belief. Every emotional response must pass through fire before it is allowed to shape action. The intelligent man is a fortress. He is not triggered, not rattled, not pushed by momentary emotion. When someone offends him, he does not react. He calculates. He studies. He stores. He waits. The average man gives away his power at the first sign of provocation. He allows others to install their agendas into his head. A woman can destroy his confidence with a glance. A colleague can ruin his day with a joke. A stranger can break his focus with an insult. These are not men. They are slaves to invisible forces. Their minds are open fields, unguarded, undisciplined, and exposed. But the sovereign man erects walls, not to shut out the world, but to defend his internal order. He understands that emotional discipline is not about pretending to feel nothing. It's about choosing what deserves his attention. He doesn't ignore emotion, he channels it. Like a military commander, he knows when to strike and when to withdraw. He knows that not every battle deserves a response, and not every insult requires retaliation. Silence is his strategy. Observation is his weapon. Schools taught you to be expressive, to share, to open up. But they never taught you that there is strength in emotional privacy. The more people know what moves you, the easier you are to control. The more predictable your emotional patterns, the more you can be manipulated. The man who shows nothing reveals nothing. The man who reveals nothing cannot be disarmed. This is how sovereignty is maintained. Not through aggression, but through restraint. Emotional sovereignty begins when you stop looking outward for regulation. When you no longer need validation to feel worthy or revenge to feel powerful. When you no longer explain yourself to people who do not understand the war you are fighting. This level of intelligence does not need applause or recognition. It thrives in silence, fueled by internal equilibrium. The intelligent man knows that most people around him are driven by emotional contagion. They spread their anxiety, fear, and rage like a disease. They are not aware of it, but he is. He does not absorb it, he observes it. He does not engage with it. He studies it like a surgeon examining an infection. His detachment is not coldness, it is protection. His silence is not weakness, it is preparation. This kind of emotional mastery does not come from reading books or attending workshops. It is earned through trials, through betrayal, through failure. Every time you respond with clarity instead of chaos, you reinforce the throne within. Every time you pause instead of react, You reclaim territory that was once invaded by impulse. It is a long war, but one worth fighting. For when your emotions become your soldiers, not your masters, you begin to think with power instead of panic. He does not cry for help. He builds inner architecture. He does not complain about pain. He interrogates its cause. He does not broadcast his suffering. He refines it into wisdom. Others speak of self-care. He practices self-command. Others seek emotional support. He becomes emotionally self-sufficient. Not because he lacks the ability to feel, but because he refuses to let feeling override thinking. His world is structured, not soft. His mind is ordered, not exposed. His emotions serve him. They do not enslave him. Revealing too much is the fastest way to lose power. In a world obsessed with visibility, validation, overexposure, the truly intelligent man becomes dangerous by mastering the opposite, concealment. He understands that what is hidden holds more influence than what is shown. He does not operate with transparency. He operates with calculated opacity. This is not dishonesty. It is protection. It is control. It is the art of choosing what to reveal, when to reveal it, and most importantly, what never to reveal at all. From the moment we are children, we are taught that openness is a virtue. Speak your mind. Share your feelings. Be honest about everything. But this naive idealism is a setup for manipulation. When people know how you think, what you fear, what you want, and what you despise, they possess a map to navigate and eventually control you. Every confession, every unfiltered thought becomes ammunition in someone else's hands. The intelligent man does not hand over that power so easily. He has learned that mystery is leverage. The less people know about you, the more they assume. The more they assume, the more control you maintain. Vagueness creates curiosity. Curiosity creates psychological tension. And in the silence of that tension, the intelligent man moves undetected. This is not about deceit. It is about building an aura of unreadability. Once you become predictable, you become manageable, and a manageable man is never a threat. The average man seeks attention. He wants to be heard, seen, understood. He talks too much, reveals too much, and weakens himself with every unnecessary word. He posts his thoughts online, tells people his plans, exposes his fears in moments of vulnerability, and when life betrays him, he wonders why. The intelligent man remains an enigma. He does not volunteer information. He speaks in layers. Even when he shares, it is only a portion, carefully designed to divert, not disclose. He understands that full transparency invites intrusion. People do not respect openness. They exploit it. They may smile at your honesty, but behind closed doors, they strategize how to use it against you. Even those who appear loyal today may become enemies tomorrow. And once your mind is mapped, your strategies revealed, and your pain exposed, your enemy does not need to destroy you directly. He simply needs to watch you destroy yourself under the illusion of being understood. There is immense psychological power in silence. When you remain silent in a room full of talkers, your presence becomes magnified. When you withhold your opinion in a sea of noise, people lean in closer to hear what you might say. And when you say nothing, they say it for you, projecting their own interpretations onto your silence. This is how you gain control over the narrative, by refusing to write it yourself. He is never obvious. Even his ambition is cloaked in humility. Even his desires are veiled in misdirection. He may let others believe they are ahead, while quietly ensuring that they're exactly where he wants them to be. This is not about trickery. It is about psychological asymmetry. The less symmetrical your opponent's knowledge of you, the more unpredictable your moves. And unpredictability is the foundation of strategic dominance. The intelligent man also understands that most people do not want the truth. They want comfort. So he does not offer them his real thoughts. He filters, reframes, and in many cases, remains silent. His thoughts are not public property. They are weapons forged in the depths of solitude. Not every opinion deserves to be spoken. Not every insight needs to be revealed. What you know must always exceed what you show. This is how power is maintained, not through constant display, but through selective disclosure. Even in relationships, he remains unreadable. He knows that love does not require full emotional transparency, disciplined intimacy. He gives enough to build connection, but never so much that his inner kingdom can be invaded. He loves, but he loves from within walls. He trusts, but with a leash. He cares, but without submission. He is not cold, He is controlled, and this control is what keeps him from becoming a casualty in a world where even affection is weaponized. When others reveal their plans, he listens, records, and adjusts. When they expose their weaknesses, he studies them, not with malice, but with foresight. He never reveals his next step, not because he is unsure, but because certainty, when revealed, invites resistance. He does not seek to impress. He seeks to progress. Quietly, strategically, permanently. This restraint does not come from cowardice. It comes from mastery. It is the result of observing how empires fall not from enemies, but from leaks, how friendships turn into informants, how weakness is exposed not by failure, but by oversharing. The intelligent man speaks like a surgeon, only when necessary, and only with precision. He is not silent because he lacks ideas. He is silent because he understands the value of containment. In a world where everyone wants to be seen, he becomes powerful by remaining hidden. In a culture obsessed with expressing everything, he ascends by revealing nothing. His intelligence lies not only in what he knows, but in what he refuses to show. Before you can dominate a room, you must dominate your mind. Before you can predict the actions of others, you must predict your own. Before you can play the game of power, you must first remove every weakness that others can exploit. This is the law of self-mastery, the first battlefield every intelligent man must conquer. And until you win this internal war, you are just another soldier marching toward a predictable defeat. Most men want to influence others, to be respected, to be untouchable. But they fail because they try to control the world before they control themselves. Their minds are chaotic, undisciplined, scattered by impulses. They react before thinking. They desire before understanding. They believe before questioning. These men are liabilities to themselves. They build strategies on emotional sand, and when the storm comes, they collapse under the weight of their own unrefined nature. The man of high-level intelligence understands that the true enemy is not out there. It is within. It is his own voice of doubt, his own hunger for validation, his own fear of rejection, abandonment, humiliation. These are not abstract concepts. These are internal saboteurs, and they whisper louder than any enemy could shout. And until these voices are silenced or put under rule, no victory in the external world will last. This is why psychological warfare begins with ruthless self-observation. The intelligent man becomes both ruler and spy of his own mind. He watches how he reacts when insulted. He pays attention to the flash of envy when someone else succeeds. He tracks the subtle craving for recognition, quiet fear of failure. He does not judge these impulses. He studies them, interrogates them, and slowly removes their authority. His mind becomes a disciplined kingdom where every thought is taxed and every emotion must justify its presence. Without this discipline, all other strategies are empty. You cannot manipulate others when you are easily manipulated by your own insecurities. You cannot lead others when you are a slave to your emotional triggers. You cannot remain calm under pressure if your mind collapses under uncertainty. Self-mastery is not about perfection. It's about power. The power to remain composed when chaos erupts. The power to make decisions when fear clouds the air. The power to see through deception because your mind is not fogged by your own. Schools never taught this kind of intelligence. They focused on facts, not focus, on memorization, not mindfulness. But the men who truly succeed in life, those who rise silently while others talk, know this secret. Control yourself, and the world bends in your direction. They understand that power flows to the man who does not need to prove anything, the man who cannot be provoked, the man who moves with clarity while others drown in their emotions. This clarity is not accidental. It is built through thousands of internal confrontations. It's forged in the early hours of solitude, in the brutal honesty of self-reflection. It is when you stop blaming the world and start dissecting yourself. Why do I need attention? Why do I fear rejection? Why do I crave being liked? These questions are not weaknesses. They are weapons. Because the man who knows his weaknesses owns them. And the man who owns them cannot be blackmailed, shamed, or broken. The mentally elite are not superhuman. They are self-trained. They have removed the need to be understood, the hunger to be liked, the desperation to fit in. They are self-sufficient machines, fueled by vision and guided by inner silence. They do not need to scream to feel strong. Their strength radiates in their composure, in their calm tone, in their ability to stand alone, unshaken and unaffected, while others chase noise. Psychological warfare does not start with manipulation. It starts with restraint. It is the art of denying yourself short-term pleasure for long-term power. It is sacrificing emotional comfort for mental clarity. It is delaying expression for the sake of strategy. The intelligent man learns how to hold his tongue, how to suppress the need to argue, how to resist the urge to correct fools. He knows that battles are won not by shouting but by waiting, by observing, by letting others fall into traps of their own emotion while he sharpens his insight. He does not just study others, he studies himself more. He practices thought control the way others practice physical strength. Every morning, he strengthens the muscle of focus. Every evening, he reviews the day not for victories, but for leaks. Where did I react? Where did I let my guard down? Where did my ego speak louder than my mind? This is not self-hate, it is self-honoring, because only the man who polices himself will never be governed by others. He understands that life is psychological combat, that every conversation is a negotiation, that every relationship is an exchange of power, and if your mind is unstable, your value in any of these games is zero. He becomes valuable not because of what he knows, but because of what he can withstand. His mental resistance is his currency. His ability to remain calm under pressure is his advantage. And his mastery of self makes him immune to manipulation. Others seek comfort. He seeks clarity. Others want to be saved. He builds his own fortress. Others chase applause. He chases internal order because he understands the simple but brutal truth. Until you are the master of your own mind, you are a pawn in someone else's game. You were never taught this in school because real power does not come from information. They trained you to follow, not to lead. They filled your mind with formulas, but left you defenseless in the art of mental warfare. They never handed you the tools to navigate betrayal, rejection, manipulation, or power plays. And so most walk through life confused, reactive, lost in a fog of emotions, seeking validation, exposing weakness, and surrendering control. But those who rise above, the invisible elite, follow a different algorithm. They master internal clarity before external strategy, choosing self-discipline over chaos. They establish emotional sovereignty, becoming rulers of their internal empires. They speak less and reveal even less, understanding that concealment is control and mystery is leverage. And above all, they train for psychological warfare, not to dominate others first, but to master themselves entirely. This algorithm is brutal. It demands isolation, relentless self-observation, and the courage to face your own inner darkness. But the man who walks this path becomes untouchable. Not because he shouts louder, because he can't be read, rattled, or ruled. While others perform for approval, he operates in silence. While others chase comfort, he sharpens control. And while the crowd seeks to fit in, he carves his mind into a fortress that none can infiltrate. The school taught you how to pass, but this algorithm teaches you how to prevail.